Character wants and needs. To illustrate this, I'm gonna tell you the story about how my neck has been hurting for like the last 6 days. Don't ever buy a water pillow. Like anybody ever tells you to, just don't. So I exercise first thing in the morning, and that's because I want to look like Arnold within the next 3 years or so. Like watch me change, bro. And what it is like I'll have to regularly combat like my writing my little story ideas for my silly little characters and their silly little plot. And like I have to tell myself like I can't focus on that right now. Like the need right now is to focus on this next set. Like at that point, like I'm focusing purely on being an athlete, like a religious athlete. Like a lot of thoughts of God come to my head while I'm working out. So yeah, that's what I do. And coming to the understanding that like I have this like becoming a successful writer, but it's like what I need in that moment to like push forward in terms of like my overall quality of life is I need discipline. And that's not unlike character wants and needs. So let's unpack this. Defining the wants and the needs, starting with want. So a character is like kind of at the beginning of the story, they have this idea that they need, or that they rather want this one thing, that they think that this one thing is going to fix their lives and like that's going to bring them like pure happiness. Oftentimes the want is the thing that kind of like starts the story. Like it pushes the character, like it's like I want revenge. Like I need to get revenge on my father. Wait, on my father? For my father. And like it kind of leads them not down a dark path, but it can lead them astray. But either way, it's the thing that kind of like kicks off the plot. Characters generally find out the need towards the end of the story. So for an example of this, so in real life, I imagine that what the character feels is like that thing when like we're doing like the bad habits that we have, but it's like we have that voice in the back of our head being like, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be doing X activity instead. So let's say character-wise, a guy is going through a breakup and this is the start of the story. Like he is now post-relationship with this girl. And at the beginning of the story, he's like, all I want is get back with my ex. Like that's gonna fix everything. But eventually the guy comes to understand that like what he actually needs is closure, like, and that he can walk away from this girl and there's going to be another one around the corner, bro. So how to apply this to your own characters? I live and die by this like massive document. It's like 5 pages long on this document that I call the character sheet for like my characters within my story. So it's like I've got their personality down there. I've got like what influences I draw from them on. So it's like if I have the idea that they are based on like one aspect of like another character and then like a couple other aspects of this character or of like another few characters, I'll write that down. I'll be like, oh, like they're kind of like Cliff Booth's demeanor from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I can't speak today. And you don't need a character sheet, but like knowing your characters like ins and outs, like, and having it down on paper, like that certainly does help. So like if you do have your personality or the personality of your character like in your head or like on paper somewhere, like think about how their personality and their beliefs kind of influence the way that they would go about getting the thing that they initially want. So if you have like a quiet or like a shy character, are they more likely to kind of like sleuth around and like go about getting their goal kind of under the radar and not like brazen, like a like kind of, I don't know, I guess like a more confident character? And then with the need, like again, thinking about the character's personalities and beliefs, because with the realization of the need, generally there is a change in the beliefs of the character, and then sometimes the personality. But with that change, how does that then navigate how they go about getting the need? If we are to go back to this example of like a quiet, shy character, like are they more, I hate to use the same word, but more brazen in getting what they actually need? And with this change in beliefs, how do you cue that or signal it to an audience? I don't like that I use the word cue. How do you signal to them that this is no longer the same character or setting that we were initially introduced to in the beginning of the film or the book or whatever? With this idea of a change in beliefs, normally we see this in movies and TV shows with like kind of like the more like greedy kind of character at the beginning. Like they're like, oh, I need excessive amounts of money. But then they come to realize that like, no, actually, I'd really like to go to my kid's baseball game. An example of this that I'm gonna draw from my own life is that a difficult pill I recently had to swallow was that like I had two friends that like I'd been friends with them ever since middle school. And for years after we graduated high school, I sensed that there was like a change in myself. So it's like I no longer valued the things that they did. So like playing video games and just like walking around Target for hours because there's nothing to do in our small city. Like for years I struggled with this up until like a few months ago when I was like, hey, we're going different paths in life and that's fine. I think I should walk away because it's like I have this new understanding of life because I now have this like different kind of view on life and different values. So sometimes that's just what your characters need to do. All right, I'm not gonna punch the camera this time. No, of course I am. No, I'm joking. All right.